How you doing? It is 2019. It's November. If you are a business owner or you're interested in understanding how Iowa state tax rates and state tax withholding for the state of Iowa and payroll withholding work, then you have found the right video. This is the coolest video you'll ever find about payroll in Excel for the state of Iowa. I'm going to go over the formula and how you can write it and calculate it if you have to figure it out, and also show you the payroll program that have you can purchase this thing for $100 and have one for your own state. They're really great, and let's show you how they work. So when you're caring about payroll, there's some questions you have to ask your employee, get them to fill out a W-4. How many withholdings do they have? You put the number here. Are they married? Yes or no. These are questions that are on the W-4. The Iowa state has their own version of the W-4. You're going to ask them for a number of withholdings or deductions. It matters. You put that there. Put the last name, first name, address. You've got areas for other information, and you can always change this around if you want to add anything. After you've done that, you go to the daily hour sheet if you keep track of this employee's hours. If you want to get another one, you start putting in another name here, and you'll see that it'll appear as a choice that you can start choosing people once you fill them in. Figure out how many regular hours, overtime hours, holiday hours they have. Then after you do that, you go over to this weekly data sheet where you're going to have weekly record information for each one of this. Is a weekly payer for the state of Iowa. So the weekly state tax rates are the one that we're going to go over here. There are different ones for different payroll frequencies, but your hours are going to get summed up automatically in these dark blue areas. You put in an hourly rate every week. You figure out what that hourly rate is going to be. If the employee has any bonuses or is paid salary in a certain way, you can type that there. If they have any reimbursements, garnishments would go right here as a positive number or something. And so let's talk about Iowa state tax rates. So you have to do a couple different things when you're writing the formula. And then to figure out also what to tax, and I've grabbed that here, kind of saved a little snapshot for you if it'll let me zoom in. It won't. Interesting. I hadn't checked this in a while. I guess when I saved the file, it compressed the rates, so you can't really read it very well. I didn't realize it would do that. But this is the rate from Iowa State about how to do this formula here. So I'll explain that in a second. First thing you need to do when you're starting to figure out your Iowa taxes is you have to, they ask you to figure out what your taxable gross wages are and subtract out what your federal withholding already was, which I have that here. So I'm setting up a formula right in here. It kind of says, take whatever your taxable gross is, subtract out your federal tax that's been calculated here in a separate formula. And then depending on how many Iowa withholdings you have, you're going to subtract $32.50 or $80 if you have 2 or more Iowa withholdings. And I know that sounds complicated, but it's written up in that formula. And it leaves you with a taxable wage base, which you then apply this big, long, ugly formula to, which is what the picture that I was zooming out and showing you for a second, what that actually is. And I'll post this in the comments. You can copy this and don't have to just read this off the screen if you want to use this for your own benefit. It's just a nested if formula, which has a lot of if the amount of salary that's being taxed is less than a certain amount, less than or equal to a certain amount, then do this to it, which is multiply it by these very low tax rates. At the very beginning, it's like 0.33%, 0.67%, like very low percentages. I think it's a 2.2%, 4.14%, 5.63, 5.0. Anyway, it's this progressive rate structure, and it's a lot of ifs. And it's really annoying to write, which is why you should just copy paste it and then replace the cell reference when you find out what your Iowa T1 calc number actually is by doing this formula. So when you put all this stuff together, what it will yield is a pay stub where you can just use this program and have all your pay stubs and your reports automatically. You get to choose employee names, you get to choose pay period dates, and you're going to see what happens to the paychecks in each one of these periods. You've got quarterly reports here. You can just choose a quarter and it's going to update when you get other data. We have unemployment, which may change depending on what your unemployment rate is, which goes right here. If you get a rate assigned to you from Iowa, you put it here. In 2019, they taxed the first 30,600 a wage base. They're upping that a little bit for next year. You have more than 10 employees you can play with. You can play with up to 50 employees in this version right there. And state tax reports, you just right click and refresh in these pivots, and they're going to break down pay periods and employees. And you can use these pivot slicers to click on certain people and what certain people owe. You can go to a W-2 sheet, which is pretty automated, that you just choose the employee's name, and it's going to give you the things that you're going to need to do for your W-2 if you want to file those online at the end of the year. So you can see this is a 5-6 minute video, but all this stuff's kind of done for you once you just put the hours in. You put the hours in here, and then you just put the hourly rate, whether they have a salary, what the garnishment is, and the rest of this is really just click and be done, and you can file your reports. So that is Payroll in Iowa 2019, and of course there'll be 2020 versions. So follow the links below if you're interested, and you can always customize these to do whatever you want for your business here in this weekly all data sheet. Get rid of this. Um, you can mess around with how you put in hours and ways that you can calculate different types of commissions and things other than just regular salary, different types of withholdings. I have other stuff hidden all over the place that I've done for all types of people that will show you information about like AFLAC or healthcare withholding that's pre-tax on the federal level, and different ways that this money is treated and taxed at different levels of taxation. So all kinds of things you can do here. Anyway, so I hope you enjoy it, and payroll should be easy, so make it that way.